Have you ever noticed how the same kind of problems keep showing up in your life? You leave one relationship thinking you've finally moved on, but the next one feels almost the same. You change jobs, expecting everything to be different, but somehow the same frustrations follow you. You move to a new place, and even there, the old struggles creep back in. It's almost like life is hitting repeat on the same story. Bert Hellinger, the man behind Family Constellations Therapy, believed this isn't random at all. In fact, he suggested that many of these repeating patterns are signals, messages from something deeper that most of us don't even realize is there. According to Hellinger, some of the problems you keep facing may not even be yours. They can be carried forward from your family system, from parents, grandparents, even ancestors you've never met. Think of your family like an invisible web. Every member is connected, whether you're aware of it or not. And within that web are unspoken rules, unresolved traumas, and hidden loyalties. When something in the system gets denied, excluded, or left unfinished, it doesn't just vanish. It lingers. It finds a way to show up in the lives of those who come later. That's why you sometimes see a grandson carrying the same grief his grandmother never expressed, or a daughter repeating the struggles of a father she barely knew. Hellinger noticed that these patterns will keep repeating until someone finally sees them. It's like life is whispering, "Look here, pay attention." The repetition isn't meant to punish you. It's the system's way of searching for balance, of asking for what's missing to be acknowledged. So, what's the secret to breaking free from these cycles? Hellinger's answer was simple but powerful: recognition and inclusion. The moment you recognize the pattern and allow what's been excluded to have its place, things begin to shift. Healing doesn't happen when we deny or resist. It happens when we acknowledge and include. This is why family constellation work can feel almost magical. In those sessions, hidden dynamics get revealed. People realize they've been unconsciously entangled with someone else in their family, maybe a parent, a sibling, or even an ancestor. And when they finally see it, something releases. It's like a weight lifts. Suddenly, they can step back and say, "That's not mine to carry anymore." And from there, life begins to feel lighter, freer. The real takeaway is this: if the same problems keep showing up in your life, maybe it's not a sign you're failing. Maybe it's an invitation to look deeper, to see the unseen threads that have been quietly shaping your choices and experiences. Once you see them, you don't have to keep playing out the same story. Subscribe now so you won't miss the next insight that could completely change the way you see your life. Here's the thing: most of us think we're making choices freely, but often we're just following a script written long before we were born. Hellinger noticed that families carry what he called entanglements. These are invisible bonds where one person, often unconsciously, takes on the pain or the fate of another family member. It's like saying deep down, "I'll carry this for you." For example, a child might take on a parent's depression even though there's no logical reason for it. Or someone might keep sabotaging their own success because, at some hidden level, they feel loyalty to an ancestor who failed or lost everything. These entanglements aren't about weakness, they're about love. Twisted, unconscious love. The kind that says, "If you suffered, I'll suffer too, so you won't be alone." Sounds heavy, right? But here's the breakthrough. Once you actually see the entanglement, it begins to lose its grip. Hellinger showed that the moment we acknowledge who the pain really belongs to, the cycle can break. Instead of carrying it for them, we can finally say, "I see you, I honor your struggle, and I'll let you keep what is yours." This is where things get really interesting. Because when one person in a family system starts to release these patterns, It doesn't just change their life, it often ripples through the whole family. Suddenly, relationships shift. The atmosphere in the family feels lighter. Even people who have no idea what you've been working on seem to respond differently. Hellinger's method shows us something powerful. Life isn't about endlessly fighting problems. It's about bringing what's hidden into the light. The moment you do, the repeating cycle doesn't need to repeat anymore. The story changes. And the beauty is, you don't need a complicated ritual or years of therapy to start this process. You can begin by simply asking yourself, what patterns do I keep reliving? Where have I seen this before in my family? The more honest you are, the more you'll notice the threads connecting your struggles to something bigger than just you. Imagine realizing that the anger you keep carrying doesn't even belong to you. It's something your father carried, and maybe his father before him. Or that your fear of being abandoned echoes a story that started with a grandmother who lost someone she loved. When you see it, suddenly you don't feel crazy anymore. You don't feel broken. You realize you've been loyal to your family's story. And that realization is the first step toward freedom. It's not about cutting yourself off from family. It's about giving back what isn't yours, while still holding deep respect for where you came from. That's the balance Hellinger talked about, honoring the past, but no longer being trapped by it. When you start living from that place, the cycle begins to dissolve. You stop attracting the same kind of pain, the same type of relationships, the same old frustrations. Instead, you start creating space for something new, something truly yours. When you begin to see these patterns clearly, it's like waking up from a dream you didn't even know you were in. The same situations that used to pull you in lose their power. The same arguments, the same disappointments, they start to feel like echoes from a past you no longer belong to. Bert Hellinger often said that healing doesn't come from fighting against life, but from aligning with it. What he meant was simple. When we stop resisting what is and start acknowledging what has been, the weight begins to lift. Life opens up. New possibilities appear where before there were only repetitions. Think of it like this. If you've been carrying a heavy backpack your whole life, at some point you stop noticing how heavy it is. You just accept it as normal. But the moment someone helps you take it off, you realize how light you could feel, how much easier it is to move forward. That's what breaking life patterns is like. And here's the most inspiring part. You don't just heal for yourself. When you step out of those inherited cycles, you also set free the generations that come after you. Your children, or the people around you, no longer have to repeat the same old struggles. You become the turning point in your family story. Hellinger believed this work is not about blaming parents or ancestors. It's not about saying, "You ruined my life." Instead, it's about saying, "I see what you went through, I respect it, and now I'll carry only what is mine." That respect is what transforms the burden into wisdom. You stop dragging the past, and instead you start building from it. In practical terms, this means paying attention to the stories you tell yourself. Every time you hear that voice saying, "This always happens to me," pause. Ask yourself, whose story am I really living? Is this truly mine, or does it echo something older, something handed down? It also means practicing compassion, not just for yourself, but for the generations before you. When you look at your family through this lens, you realize everyone was doing the best they could with what they had. Even the mistakes, even the suffering, were part of a bigger picture. And once you accept that, you can stop repeating it. The cycle breaks when love turns from unconscious loyalty, the kind that makes us carry burdens that aren't ours, into conscious respect. Respect for the past and freedom for the future. This is Hellinger's secret. By bringing hidden patterns into the light, by recognizing and including what was excluded, we free ourselves. Life patterns don't have to keep repeating. Problems don't have to keep coming back. When you see clearly, you can choose differently. And when you choose differently, everything around you begins to shift. So if you've ever felt stuck in the same problems, remember, it's not a curse and it's not destiny. It's an invitation to see, to honor, and to finally step into your own path. What pattern do you think has been repeating most in your life? And are you ready to be the one who finally breaks it?